How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Monitor Comics, the channel where we create comics and manga. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, then I hope you can check out some of my other videos after you're finished watching this one. We have already covered a ton of cool comic making tutorials such as 5 tips for creating great villain characters, how to write shonen power systems, and 10 tips for world building. Today's video has been highly requested, so I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you who takes the time to leave video suggestions in the comment section below. Today we will be talking about creating a successful shonen manga in 2021. We'll be breaking down what the shonen genre is and what we can do to stand out with our own shonen comics, manga, and webtoon projects. Make sure you watch this video in its entirety because I'll be telling you everything you need to know to write your own shonen series. But first, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. Recently, I've been using Squarespace's professional portfolio and gallery designs to present my work on my own personal website. What's really cool is there are so many different gallery options to choose from. You can even create password-protected pages to share work with clients. Just take a look at this really cool website I created. I now have a central hub to show off all of my graphic novel projects, YouTube videos, and contact information. In just a few clicks, you can do the same. Another feature I've been playing around with is the connected social media interface. Using Squarespace, I can display posts from all of my different social media accounts right on my website. I can even push website content to my social media accounts so my followers can easily share it around. Head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your website, go to squarespace.com/monitorcomics to save 10% off your very first purchase of a website or a domain. Thank you again, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to the video. This video is actually part 3 of my How to Write Shonen Manga series. For the past 2 years, we have analyzed popular shonen manga during the given year in order to understand the trends and patterns. I hope you can check out the first 2 parts of this video series after you're finished watching this one. To begin, I want to do a bit of a recap. What is shonen manga? Shonen manga are Japanese comics marketed towards young boys between the ages of 12 and 18. This age demographic can vary from magazine to magazine. I'm sure you have heard of the big 3, One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. These 3 shonen manga series were praised for their immense popularity during Shonen Jump's golden age in the mid-2000s. Some other household shonen titles include Hunter x Hunter, Dragonball, Death Note, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, The Gray Man, Yu Yu Hakusho, Gintama, and Yu-Gi-Oh! In more recent years, you may have heard of popular shonen manga like My Hero Academia, Black Clover, Dr. Stone, The Promised Neverland, Demon Slayer, One Punch Man, Haikyuu, Spy Family, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Chainsaw Man. Shonen manga typically features young male protagonist characters. It usually falls into the action-adventure, sports fantasy, or comedy genres. There are exceptions, of course, but many shonen series tend to follow this precedent. Shonen manga and anime are among the most popular and lucrative in the world. The history of shonen manga dates back to the 19th century when one of the first shonen magazines, Shonen Sekai, published from 1895 to 1914. Shonen Sekai was not a major publication and could not be compared to modern shonen magazines. The first real explosion came during the 1950s. Post-war changes in Japanese cultural traditions enabled the development of modern manga. As a result, more seinen and shonen manga publications began appearing. The most common manga topics at the time were robots, space travel, and heroic adventures. It was around this time when the author of Astro Boy, Osamu Tezuka, first appeared. You may have heard of Tezuka's other legendary series including Dororo, Kimba the White Lion, Princess Knight, Phoenix, and Blackjack. His shonen series were enormously popular and he earned worldwide recognition as one of the pioneers of modern shonen manga. The manga market solidified itself and grew during the 1950s and the 1960s. Shonen manga became one of the most popular types of manga by the 1980s. The most popular Japanese manga magazine, Weekly Shonen Jump, started publishing in 1968. This moment was a crucial point in the rise of manga. Up until the 1990s, shonen works were mostly safe for work as censorship was still quite strong in Japan. That all changed during the 1990s. Shonen manga started to become more mature and explicit when violence and ecchi became more frequently featured. This change contributed to the depth of the shonen genre, but also began to blur the distinction between it and the more mature seinen genre. Modern shonen material is much more fluid and in many ways borders the seinen genre. Series like The Promised Neverland, Death Note, and Chainsaw Man explore darker topics that you might not expect to find in a shonen manga. As the world changes, so do the stories that authors tell. Shonen manga that are popular today may be completely different from shonen manga that are popular in 10 years. So, how do you make a successful shonen manga in 2021? To answer this broad question, we need to analyze popular trends and identify which shonen series are performing the best. Rakuten is an online website similar to Amazon. It is one of the biggest e-commerce companies in Japan. According to this website's sales data, the top 10 best-selling shonen manga are One Piece, Spy Family, Jujutsu Kaisen, Dr. Stone, Kaiju number 8, Tokyo Revengers, Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Detective Conan, World Trigger, and My Hero Academia. Shonen Jump Plus is Shonen Jump's online website and mobile app. In addition to the manga series published in Weekly Shonen Jump, Shonen Jump Plus delivers exclusive series that can only be read online. According to Shonen Jump Plus's most recent rankings, the top 10 Shonen Plus manga are Spy Family, Kaiju number 8, World's End Harem, World's End Harem Fantasia, Juni Taisen Zodiac War, Hell's Paradise, Fire Punch, Astra Lost in Space, Darling in the Franxx, and Chainsaw Man. In part 1 of this video series, we discuss mainstream shonen manga following in the footsteps of the Golden Age predecessors. So for that reason, we will not be discussing One Piece, Detective Conan, or My Hero Academia in this video. In part 2 of this video series, we discuss popular shonen manga incorporating seinen elements to tell more mature stories. For that reasoning, we will not be discussing Dr. Stone or Chainsaw Man in this video. In today's video, we will be discussing 3 of the more mainstream shonen manga to come out in recent years: Demon Slayer, Tokyo Revengers, and Jujutsu Kaisen. We will also be analyzing 3 of the more mainstream Shonen Jump Plus manga series: Spy Family, Kaiju number 8, and World's End Harem. Starting things off, let me give you a brief synopsis of the manga series Kimetsu no Yaiba, commonly known as Demon Slayer. The story follows a teenage boy named Tanjiro who strives to become a demon slayer after his family was slaughtered and his younger sister was turned into a demon. Demon Slayer was published in the magazine Shonen Jump from 2016 to 2020. The series is classified as an adventure dark fantasy. Demon Slayer's serialization has recently ended with 23 volumes being sold worldwide. The animation studio Ufotable adapted the manga series into an immensely popular 24-episode series. A very successful movie adaptation was also released in theaters worldwide. Currently, season 2 of the anime is now airing. The Demon Slayer manga was relatively unknown in mainstream circles when it initially began. The smooth animation, emotional music, and colorful characters found in the anime's first season gave the franchise a huge uptick in sales. The Demon Slayer manga now has hundreds of millions of copies in circulation. The Demon Slayer movie is also currently the fastest film in Japanese cinema history to make over $100 million. Funny enough, Demon Slayer was the very first shonen title that the animation studio Ufotable has ever adapted. They are better known for their light novel anime adaptations. So, what exactly made Demon Slayer so popular? At first glance, Demon Slayer may look like every other generic shonen series. However, Demon Slayer actually has a lot of unique story elements that make it stand out. First, Demon Slayer places a lot of emphasis on family. It is made very clear very early on that family is the core theme of the story. The 2 central characters, Tanjiro and Nezuko, share an unbreakable bond built on love and trust. The theme of family is rarely explored in shonen manga. Some stories opt to remove parents from the equation entirely. Demon Slayer stands out in the sense that it openly embraces this uncommon theme. Even though Tanjiro and Nezuko's family were slaughtered at the beginning of the story, they still play a vital role in the plot. Tanjiro and Nezuko both see visions of their deceased mother and siblings when in emotional turmoil. In one instance, a memory of his father's would ultimately save Tanjiro's life. When planning your own shonen comic or manga, consider exploring themes that others tend to stay away from. By capitalizing on uncommon themes, your story has the potential to stand out among the rest. Another aspect of Demon Slayer's writing that sets it apart from the rest is its rawness. Grief and loss are felt deeply in the series. The story is built on demons killing humans and demon slayers killing demons. It goes without saying that blood is going to be spilled. Every battle, every conversation, and every loss changes the characters physically and emotionally. The characters grow with each and every experience. This efficient use of character development adds to the rawness in Demon Slayer's core themes. The final point I want to mention about Demon Slayer is the depiction of the protagonist. Having kind heroes is a staple in the shonen genre. However, Tanjiro is depicted as a much needed light. Tanjiro is always the first person to stand up for the weak. He is also one of the only characters to feel sympathy towards the demons. Despite losing his family, Tanjiro's kindness is unfailing. Many characters like Inosuke see him as a beacon of light. These positive qualities make it very easy for the viewer to sympathize with him and want to root for him. The one takeaway I want you to leave with is Demon Slayer expands upon Shonen Jump's golden standard. Demon Slayer has many components that can be found in other shonen series, however its unique execution is what sets it apart from the rest. Moving on, I want to talk about the insanely popular manga series Tokyo Revengers. Tokyo Revengers was published in Kodansha's Weekly Shonen magazine from March 2017 to December 17, 2021. Tokyo Revengers had a 24-episode anime series adaptation that aired from April to September 2021. As of September, the manga had over 40 million copies in circulation. Tokyo Revengers even won the 44th Kodansha Manga Award for the shonen category in 2020. Tokyo Revengers tells the story of Takemichi Hanagaki, a 20-year-old nobody who finds out his ex-girlfriend was murdered by the Tokyo Manji gang. One day, Takemichi gets pushed into an oncoming train and he is sent 12 years back into his middle school days. Takemichi realizes that he can alter the flow of time and decides to use his new ability to save his ex-girlfriend from her tragic death. To do this, he decides to join the Tokyo Manji gang himself. So, what sets Tokyo Revengers apart from every other action shonen series? For one, Tokyo Revengers has a unique premise. There aren't many manga series that feature time-leaping main characters and groups of delinquents. However, Tokyo Revengers managed to combine both elements with a unique and fresh execution. The only notable time-leaping anime series that I can think of are Erased and Steins Gate. Steins Gate isn't a shonen, and we all know how bad the Erased anime adaptation was. The delinquent trope used to be very popular in shonen manga back in the 70s and the 80s. In recent times, the trope has mellowed out to maybe 1 or 2 characters per shonen series being depicted as a delinquent. Tokyo Revengers managed to revive this popular trope and make it cool again. It also took all of the good aspects of Erased and made it better. The problem with time-leaping stories like Steins Gate is their storylines are often complex. However, with Tokyo Revengers, that is never the case. Tokyo Revengers features light, uncomplicated plotlines that are still entertaining to watch. Tokyo Revengers also appeals to a wide audience. The depiction of the Tokyo Manji gang invokes feelings of nostalgia. The viewer is reminded of the good old days when they used to hang out with their childhood friends. Despite being a shonen series, Tokyo Revengers has a significant female fanbase. The one thing I want you to take away from studying Tokyo Revengers is that no idea is 100% original. Every creative work takes inspiration from something else. Tokyo Revengers proved that old trends can be revived and made popular again. The last Shonen Jump series I want to talk about today is Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen has been serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump since March 2018. Jujutsu Kaisen is the sequel manga series to Tokyo Metropolitan Curse Technical School, published in Shonen Jump's Giga from April to July 2017. This was later collected into a single volume known as Jujutsu Kaisen 0 in December 2018. A 24-episode anime adaptation aired from October 2020 to March 2021. As of October 2021, the Jujutsu Kaisen manga had over 55 million copies in circulation. It is currently one of the best-selling manga series of all time. I will now read the synopsis for the series. Jujutsu Kaisen follows high schooler Yuji Itadori. His leisurely lifestyle soon takes a turn for the strange after swallowing a cursed item. Triggering a chain of supernatural occurrences, Yuji finds himself suddenly thrust into the world of curses. Dreadful beings form from human malice and negativity. Yuji experiences firsthand the threat these curses pose to society as he discovers his own newfound powers. Introduced to the Tokyo Metropolitan Jujutsu Technical High School, he begins to walk down a path from which he cannot return, the path of a Jujutsu sorcerer. At its core, Jujutsu Kaisen is a shonen series. It doesn't do much to stray away from the typical shonen tropes. However, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Jujutsu Kaisen isn't the first shonen series, nor will it be the last to feature a trio of friends, tournament arcs, and strong enemies. Jujutsu Kaisen does an amazing job of once again proving why these tropes are so ingrained in the shonen genre. Unlike most other shonen series, Jujutsu Kaisen dives right into the action. From the very first chapter, the reader is immediately thrown into the series of events. There are some moments of peace, but they are few and far between. The stakes always feel very high in this series. This is great for fans who crave non-stop excitement in their shonen manga. Jujutsu Kaisen is unique in the sense that it doesn't shy away from horror elements. It is on the more mature side of shonen and it isn't afraid to show blood. The designs of the curses embodies these elements with characters who are monstrous in both appearance and morality. Jujutsu Kaisen makes it very clear early on that people die and not everyone can get a good death. The protagonist Yuji wants people to pass on in a painless, good way, but it soon becomes obvious that this can't always be the case. Important characters can die in this series. This cruel truth raises the stakes immensely, as viewers could lose their favorite character at any moment. The one thing I want you to take away from studying Jujutsu Kaisen is that familiar tropes are not off limits. When you are a comic, manga, or webtoon creator, there can be pressure to create the next original thing. However, there is nothing wrong with sticking with what already works. Jujutsu Kaisen is another shonen series, but it spins a lot of shonen tropes on its head to differentiate itself from its competition. Jujutsu Kaisen sticks to the shonen typical mold, but breaks the mold with merciless villains, an interesting power system, and a likable cast of characters. Moving on to the Shonen Jump Plus series, I want to first highlight the widely popular Spy Family. Spy Family has been serializing bi-weekly for free in the Shonen Jump Plus app and website since March 25, 2019. An anime adaptation by Wit Studio and Cloverworks has recently been announced to premiere in 2022. The series follows a spy called Twilight who has to build a family to execute a mission. Unknown to Twilight, the girl he adopts is a mind reader and the woman he agrees to marry is an assassin. As of November 2021, Spy Family has over 12.5 million copies in circulation. What makes Spy Family so good is its genius setup. The dynamic between the family is as endearing as it is hilarious. Each character thinks they have to hide the truth when in reality they all found the exact people who will be on board with who they actually are. The manga is full of characters tripping over flimsy explanations as to why one of them is being chased down by a van full of gunmen. The one thing I want you to take away from studying this newer series is less can be more. Spy Family doesn't try to be something it's not. It has a simple setup with a dynamic trio as its main focus. This series puts its characters first and builds its storyline around them. The next Shonen Manga Plus series I want to mention is World's End Harem. This manga series has been published in Shonen Jump Plus since May 2016. This series has inspired two spin-off manga, World End Harem Fantasia and World's End Harem Britannia Lumiere. Two audio dramas were released in May 2017 and August 2021, respectively. A virtual reality game adaptation by DMM Games was released in March 2019. An anime adaptation by Studio Gokumi is set to premiere in January 2022. The series follows Reito Mizuhara, a young man who is put in a cryostasis while awaiting for a life-saving treatment to be developed for his rare disease. 5 years later, in the year 2045, he awakens to find that an extremely lethal virus has emerged, wiping out 99.9% of the world's male population. Reito learns that he is one of 5 men to survive in Japan and is required to participate in a breeding program to impregnate as many women as possible to replenish the world's population. Ecchi and harem series have always had a special place in the shonen genre. Think of hit manga series like To Love Ru, Eyes, Ichigo 100, and Unit in the Haunted Hot Springs. World's End Harem differentiates itself from these ecchi titles by mixing in a hint of mystery. In this dystopian society, women rule the world. Society has changed significantly since 99.9% of the male population was eradicated by an unknown pandemic. While this setup feels typical of a harem series, the main character has no interest in taking part in the breeding program. He is more interested in studying the unknown virus and tracking down his missing childhood friend. This series explores the perspectives of different men and how they react to this brand new world. Some give into the program and are treated as reproductive slaves. Some male characters suddenly feel empowered as they are given a very important mission from the government. Others, like the protagonist, are set on solving the world's mysteries. The one thing I want you to take away by studying World's End Harem is that your comic, manga, or webtoon can take influence from other genres. While this shonen series embodies everything that makes a good ecchi harem series, it also incorporates elements of sci-fi and mystery. The final shonen series I want to talk about today is Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8, also known as Monster number 8 in English, has been published in Shonen Jump Plus since July 3rd, 2020. In December 2020, it was reported that Kaiju number 8 surpassed 30 million views, making it the fastest Shonen Jump Plus series to achieve this feat. In February 2021, the series reached 70 million views. As of September 2021, Kaiju number 8 has over 4 million copies in circulation. In the world of Kaiju number 8, monsters known as Kaiju regularly attack the populace. The Japanese Defense Force is tasked with killing them. After his town was destroyed by Kaiju, a young man named Kafka Hibino swears to become a member of the Japanese Defense Force. However, he has failed the examination numerous times. After a small talking monster flies into his mouth, Kafka gains the ability to turn into a monster himself. Kafka remains fully conscious while in the form, but gains superhuman strength and becomes the first monster to escape the Defense Force. At first glance, we can see that this shonen series takes heavy influence from seinen horror series like Gantz, Devilman, and Kaiju. Kaiju number 8 immediately feels like something unique for Shonen Jump. The protagonist is far past his prime, being in his 30s. He's stuck in a job not at all where he intended his life to go. The main character also isn't your typical hero. He begins as a vigilante who has to act on his own to achieve his dreams. Although he uses his newfound powers for good, he is still a kaiju being targeted by Japan's Defense Force. The one thing I want you to take away by studying Kaiju number 8 is that you shouldn't be afraid to stray from the norm. Just because your series fits into a particular genre, it doesn't mean you have to abide by every genre and trope stereotype that is popular in that genre. If you are making shonen manga, your main character doesn't have to be a young boy chasing his dreams. You could take your story in any direction you want. In conclusion, making a shonen manga in 2021 is all about unique and good execution. It's completely fine to take inspiration from past works. It is also okay to study recent works to understand what trends are currently popular. By looking at other comics, manga, and webtoons critically, you'll begin to see what could work with your own series. Hopefully this video could help you out a bit. If you got some value out of this video, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Drop a comment down below telling us about your favorite shonen series. Remember, you can read the first 2 chapters of my published Saturday AM manga series Change the World over at pilotmanga.com. As always, keep creating everyone. I'll see you all in the next one.